You're listening to The Sister Trill with Danae and Kiveli.
Hello everybody and welcome to the premiere episode of The Sister Trill. I'm Kiveli.
And I'm Danae.
And we're coming to you from our mutual home in Berlin. This is more like episode 0 than episode 1, because in this episode we want to talk about the top 10 questions that we have been getting asked in the past 25 years. They range anywhere from actually quite professional to very, very personal and borderline inappropriate. But what they all have in common is that we get them asked many, many times, and we usually try to give more diplomatic or politically correct answers. Obviously, there is much, much more to it and many juicy stories that could be told, and we decided to share them with you from now on.
And maybe we should say that we're both pianists. We're both sisters, obviously. And this is why when you say we get asked them in interviews where it's more about the music and about us as sisters being in the same business, having had a very similar upbringing, as in same teachers, same university where we studied. Same social circles, exactly. And so in interviews we get asked these questions, and also from just friends, because we are in the same circle of friends and people, and we are also very close. We live in the same house, as Kiveli said, so it's kind of a special situation. We moved back in together after, is it 11 years that
of
we
living apart? No, but of course, because you left.
Yeah.
You left earlier.
I'm the older one, in case that wasn't clear yet. I am turning 30 this year, and I moved out when I was 19. So
that's true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's been 11 years since living together, and now we live back together. So we have many interesting sibling topics to talk about.
And actually, it's also a bit of a challenge for us, because we're used to, usually when there is a camera or there's like some type of forum where we know people who are not our super close friends will hear it, we're quite used to kind of turning on the more diplomatic, professional mode, being careful about what we say. So now we're going to have to kind of consciously turn the filter off.
Yeah.
Because in real life, we're actually extremely unfiltered and extremely politically incorrect.
So basically what we've done for this episode 0, as you said, episode 0, is that we've just compiled these questions that we usually answer very professionally, or at least that's what we believe.
Some of them we cannot answer professionally because they're very, very personal.
But that we kind of answer in kind of a stereotypical way. And we will now try to be as honest as possible with those questions.
Exactly. All right, so probably the top question that we have been asked the most, basically everyone who gets to know us asks us this immediately. It's because we're sisters, and at first glance we do have kind of the same vibe. We are half Greek, half German, curly hair, all that situation. And we both play the piano, so literally same business, same instrument. We both play classical music. So they always ask us, how can you kind of be in the same business together? Does one get jealous? Are we more competitive or supportive? And our usual answer is always like, of course, we are very supportive of each other. We see it more as a blessing. We can help each other out, which obviously is the truth. I mean, it's not that we're lying. But
However,
but
let's start by saying that it is true that we are really very supportive of each other, and maybe also compared to other siblings in the same situation, probably we are on the more supportive side, but obviously that is not the whole story.
So first of all, I mean, I think that whenever we've spoken about it, we've more spoken about it, me coming to you with my worries, and me, because there was a phase when I was about maybe 19, 20, I just started studying, where I was like a bit more worried about this specific situation. And I don't think we've ever spoken about it the other way around. Was there ever a time where you felt worried about that?
Well, by worried you mean like threatened, right?
Threatened, where like kind of you took it into account, like seeing it, like seeing the downside of it more clearly than the upside, as we do now.
Well, I mean, as the older sibling, that's always like, for example, in studying a couple of steps ahead, and then maybe also career-wise, because there's a 4-year age gap. I don't know if we mentioned that between us. So it means that when I was, for example, 24, I was obviously naturally a couple of steps ahead. I think that's the reason why I never felt threatened. I never felt threatened by you in the business area the way you sometimes told me that you felt threatened, as in two sisters doing the same thing. Is there even enough space? I never saw that as a problem. I think my worries in that direction came later on. Maybe also one could say later on when you caught up. you know what I mean? Like, because now I would define us as on the same level. More or less, we can get more into that. We both go into slightly different directions within the field, but I would still say on the same level. And I think maybe when you caught up, that's when I. Well, you know what I mean? No, that's when maybe my worries were more like, okay, now if there's a contact, it's an actual competitive choice between do I choose Kiveli or do I choose Danae as a promoter or as a chamber music partner or as a conductor. Now, very much speaking from this music perspective, it's not clear. It's like which type will I go for?
And I mean, to be honest, like for me, the worry was I think I had two worries. When, like, in my bleakest, most pessimistic moments, I had like this kind of attitude, almost like if you play with someone like a musician, or if you play in a hall, or if you are in an agency, if you have kind of connected on a more than superficial level with one person in the industry, that basically that person is automatically off limits for me. Not because I'm like, I'm going to take the step back, not like that, but just simply because, like, okay, I'm too similar of a product, you know,
which to some extent is true. I mean, one could say you have your chamber music partners, I have my chamber music partners, and I don't think that would mix quickly. I mean, maybe I'll do something with your partner, you'll do something with my partner.
But of course there are, So I mean, basically for me, but I think it's also kind of the curse of the younger sibling.
Which is something we will get into very soon.
For me, that it was very important to carve out a space that I felt was my own. And I think one of the biggest blessings in that was that there was one musician who I had looked up to since I knew that he existed. quite a well-known, accomplished musician in the field who kind of, at some point, I think it happened when I was about 19, 20, started believing in me in a way that I think musically no one who wasn't my teacher had believed in me before. And that gave me a huge boost of confidence. And being perceived by that person that way kind of made me feel like, okay, you know, maybe there is enough space for both of us in the business. And now I know there is enough space. I think also that if I look at other kind of famous siblings in other spaces, now that kind of I feel more comfortable about where my career is right now, and you know, you see how really this kind of fueling off each other and being there for each other, and kind of if you get to know someone, of course that it might be your contact, but it will be much easier for me to kind of reach that person than if you didn't know that person. Obviously through our duo is, you know, we play a lot together as well. So,
and also, I mean, how often has it happened that, for example, I get an invitation or you get an invitation, we cannot do it, and then we kind of pass it on to the sister. And also, even if we don't pass it on, sometimes people just ask, oh, could your sister maybe do it? So it's definitely, I think, also very true to say that the opportunities multiply or are double at least. Because we have each other.
And the other thing that I would think it would be important to talk about is that although now I think we have it figured out better than we ever have before, and we definitely both far stronger feel the positive sides than the potential downsides, there are still situations where we have to both be mindful of kind of not overstepping. And I know there's one specific situation I'm thinking about right now.
There was one situation.
There is. I mean, it's an ongoing situation.
But I think we kind of have gone
and
the first
I mean
step.
the situation, just to like pass it to tell you guys, is quite simple. Basically, there is one musician that we both really respect and would really love to play with, that kind of there are two separate avenues in which situations could present themselves where we both could play with this person.
We have one joint project planned already.
Exactly.
So that's kind of what we're going off of. And usually when you have a project planned, obviously you build off of that. So if that goes well, very often you then like the chamber music partner and you then go, okay, let's plan more stuff. But since it's a joint project and there is not really a joint future, I would say.
No. The future would be either you or me, or maybe both. I mean, that's
who knows?
That's the question.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's always important to be
but
mindful.
We've been very
in these
open.
situations. We've been very open.
So no one has like gone behind the other sister's back. We've been very upfront and said, this is what I'm trying to do.
And I think that's, I mean, this whole topic is definitely a topic that we're going to have to address an entire episode to, because there's so many gradations to it. But just to like, I don't know, wrap it up kind of neatly, I would say that obviously it's a journey. It's not that this supporting each other, outweighing the potential jealousy happened automatically. It definitely was a conscious process, and I think we've now developed strategies and ways to make sure that it stays that way.
And to answer the question truthfully, yes, there have been situations where we were jealous of each other.
For sure. Of course. All right. But we're going to get into those situations in one of the next episodes. All right, so next question. It's more of a recent one, since we've moved in together again. What's it like living in the same house together?
Yeah, so as we mentioned in the beginning, we are living together now again, not so long now, for maybe half a year, something like that. And it's interesting to us that so many people find that so baffling, because whenever I've mentioned it, and I think also when you've mentioned it, people are like, what, you're living in the same house? Also, I should say I have a family, so it's not just the two of us.
And I don't have a family.
I am a person in a relationship with kids, and she's a person that's single and ready to mingle. So very different life situations. And we all live together here. So, I mean, that's a big difference. I mean, not just the two of us, but I live with, obviously, my boyfriend and our kids, and Kiveli lives here. And actually, there are also some other people living in the house.
The nanny of the kids lives here as well. And a friend of mine who I took in a couple of years ago to support him in his start to an incredible career, I'm sure, in filmmaking. So, and he was living with me back when I was living in my old apartment in Berlin. And now that I moved here, he came as well.
Yeah. So it's a very full household. And whenever we tell people that, they're completely baffled and say, how does that even work? I don't know if I would want to live with my sister. And let me start by saying that when I moved out, very openly and also to you, said, I don't want to live with you. So
I remember, trust me. Not a comment I have forgotten. Although I have to say that, okay, so basically the situation was when Danae moved out, I was obviously still going to school. So I was 16 when you moved out. I just turned 16, and I was, still living at my old house in Düsseldorf with my mom, still going to school. So compared to the life that I was embarking on, starting to study, my life seemed far less cool and exciting. So I was like, trying to kind of vicariously live the study life through Danae. So when she then said she didn't want to live with me, that I'm sure definitely broke my heart in like profoundly in that moment.
But I do think that it's a very normal
No, of course it's a normal thing. Of course it's a normal thing. But because we were so much closer before than usually siblings were, it seemed like, well, obviously we want to do everything together, right?
Also, we're very different people
in terms of living,
in terms of how we live.
No, but before I wanted to say that, however, when I started studying and then I found my own apartment, I immediately saw and felt how important and right it was that we didn't move in together. So it's not like, I caught up with the value of that very quickly. So I think it's obviously a very good thing that we didn't move in together again.
Yeah, and also, I mean, what I wanted to say is we are very different people in terms of household, in terms of lifestyle, even, I mean, a lot of things. And I think that in that initial time after moving out, it would have just clashed in all the ways.
Of course.
And even now, it's still a subject between us, but we've obviously found ways to totally deal with it. And of course, now the living situation is very different. It's not a student apartment, a 1 or 2 room apartment, but it's a big house. So, everyone has their own
to
space.
answer, like, how do we do it? I think that it's the same way that we used to do it back when we had separate apartments and we would visit each other. Basically, we were very aware of our different habits and different preferences. And we said that when you're in the other person's space, you respect their rules. And when, you're in my space, you respect my rules. And we have joint spaces in the house. We have separate spaces in the house. I have my own space. My room is right over there. And Danae's and the kids and your boyfriends, but your partners, the father of your children's space was have huge trouble kind of defining it.
Just because we're not married.
Exactly. Okay. So his space, your space is upstairs. And then for the joint space, immediately when I moved in, we created... Well, when we moved together here, we created like kind of guidelines, what we both, that are kind of more compromises. Yeah. I think something that defines our relationship a lot, and it's one of my favorite things, is that we not only we talk openly, but when we make agreements, we both stick to them. Yeah. And when we don't, we can call each other out without like any pushback of bad mood or something.
And we're also willing to compromise with each other.
Absolutely. So that's how it works, and it works.
And also,
perfectly.
I think maybe one more factor why it works is that our jobs are these kind of jobs where we travel a lot and we really are not home all the time. So this was also one of the reasons why we moved in together, because we already travel a lot. And when we both were in Berlin, we said, okay, let's try to meet up. And sometimes we're not even in Berlin at the same time. So basically it means that sometimes when I'm here, Kiveli's not there and vice versa. And it's nice to have someone in the house to keep it going.
Also, it's just practical when we rehearse. We can rehearse immediately when we plan for the festival, because we also are the artistic directors of a festival in Lesbos that we've been doing for 7 years now. So we can plan that. So obviously it makes things easier. I can also be closer to your kids, which I love.
Because she's basically the second mom to my children.
Sometimes also like the first mom. No, that's absolutely not true. No, that's not true. I would like to be, but I'm not.
in love, in feeling of love.
In feeling of love. Absolutely. No. I mean, you are an amazing mother.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I could not do what you do.
But I think this whole household concept can also be something that we talk about in a completely separate
all these
episode.
Questions, actually, all these questions are kind of teaser answers for topics that we can unpack far more in future episodes.
We just are trying to quickly, quote unquote, quickly go
We're doing
through
a very good job of that. All right, okay. Okay, the next one is like a simple one. Have you had a crush on the same guy?
Okay,
we're asking that a lot. We're being asked that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, an actual crush, I wouldn't even say.
I've had crushes on guys when I was younger. That
okay.
I mean, I think the not true crushes. We've never had like emotions for the same.
Yeah, I mean,
guy.
is a crush just finding someone hot?
But we've definitely found same guys hot for sure. And apart from that, I think when I was younger, when it was like right at the time where you had become
a woman,
a sexually desirable specimen without it being weird, and I was not yet a sexually desirable specimen without it being weird. Where I was looking at your male sexually desirable specimen, and I was thinking like, boy, do I wish I already was a sexually desirable specimen. Okay, we got that. All right, next question.
So what's the answer? Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah. But I mean, again, navigating the whole relationship field is a big other thing. Oh, okay. This is, I think, a question we are asked mostly by people who are like trying to be a bit cheeky and like trying to like get us, be like, We're always asked who is better. Who is better, and that's...
But we're asked this also in interviews.
Sure.
Also in professional interviews. We're asked this on every level, I find. This is a very common question. Like in interviews, people say literally, okay, so who plays better?
But I feel that in interviews, sometimes it's asked and then we laugh it off and they're like, okay.
we laugh it off, but they're trying to get
I've had like some friends ask and I'm like, we're better at different things.
Yeah,
and they're like, no, seriously, who is better? And then they just don't let, and I'm like, well, what should I say? You know what I mean?
Exactly. No, exactly. But we're asked this, and then we're asked this also on the personal level, like by boys.
Yeah,
like, who's better in bed?
or
Yeah,
something
like I
that,
mean
yeah.
everything. We're asked
As if we know who is better in bed.
like it's a constant comparison because we're two sisters, because we're so similar. Who is better at anything in life? I find this is one of the most asked questions.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean,
So
I
who
would.
is better?
Well, what I would like to say in terms of, I don't know. I mean, super honestly, right now, I think that it is necessary in our professional space to feel that we are better, like that I am better than you, and you feel that you are better than me. I think that otherwise it would be weird. You know, I mean, because it's different if you look up to someone, if you look up to a certain interpretation, and you're like, wow, I wish I could play it that way. That's a super good step in when you're learning that piece or something. But in the end, you have to feel that what you have to say is uniquely valuable to you, and therefore not better than what anyone else has to say, but there is like this kind of intrinsic self-belief that you need in order to go on stage and play. Especially if, you know, if I would be playing in a concert with you and I would think like, okay, no, she's playing better, no, I'm gonna go and play worse. I mean, that's not a good starting point.
Yeah, I think that it's super important what you said, and I totally agree with it, that you have to obviously believe that you're the best and that you have something to say. But I would say that it's also kind of a mixture between, like, you have to believe that you're the best and at the same time also respect the rest. I just made it right.
Amazing.
No, but like
Be best, respect the rest.
Respect, you know, the whole situation, respect what you're doing, respect what is out there.
Absolutely. No, this is absolutely
mixture of
not
both.
a comment on like, oh, you have to think you're the best.
Yeah, no,
but
I
you
know.
know what
Yeah.
I think so. It definitely wasn't that way always, and it also isn't that way constantly, but on a like fundamental, regular, day-to-day when I'm practicing, I try to feel that I'm better than you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
For me,
Because I don't think we've ever spoken about this so openly, actually.
I mean, truthfully, for me, when I go on stage, obviously, I, as you say, like, hyped myself up into being, like, super confident and feeling like I'm the best in that moment in time to play what I'm playing then. And there's no doubt in my mind about that. But truthfully, when I think about it, like, you know, just every day or when I practice, I do believe that there are fields where you are better and fields where I'm better. So like in everyday life where there's no adrenaline and when there's not this stage feeling, I do think to myself, this is something where I could also ask you for advice.
Absolutely. I'm talking about more this basic, like feeling it inside. No, also in life. I mean, this we have spoken about.
Yeah.
Actually, to be super candid, we have spoken even about in bed, where I am sure you're better and where I'm like suspecting I'm better. I'm sure.
Basically, you're sure.
Basically, I'm sure, and I'm trying to sound a bit humble. No, I mean, of course.
Yeah.
That is, and the other thing, sometimes it's actually not even that important because we don't often play the same pieces.
Yeah.
So the direct comparison isn't even possible or necessary.
I think this direct comparison not the direct comparison, this comparison where people think, oh my God, you're so similar, who's better, is only at first glance. Because we're actually not so similar.
Yeah, that's the way following question.
Oh yeah, so let's not get into it too much. But basically, we play different things. We actually go into different directions. We have different playing styles, I would also say.
Yes.
And
which is interesting because I do think that we add up very well when we play duo together.
Yeah.
But it is very different styles and very different approaches and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that there are some like no-brainers that we can share. Like you are better at discipline than I am.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm better at
helping people.
At helping people, maybe, yeah. And I think
planning events,
being
a socialite.
I think you are better. I mean, we can like get into a flattering back and forth situation. I mean, I think you're obviously better at, you know, like goals that need long-term commitment. The day-to-day, like, you know, discipline. You're more conscientious than I am.
Yeah.
And I would say that you're also more of like your mood is more balanced than mine.
Really?
which towards most people.
Yeah, okay.
You know, I mean,
not towards the inner circle.
Not towards the inner circle. Towards the inner circle, our moods are very real. But my moods, I think, generally are not. I'm not moody at all. But compared to you, I've definitely got like bigger spikes.
Yeah.
All right.
But so the answer to who's better is we're actually different. And
yeah.
Yeah.
But it sounds a bit diplomatic, so I was trying to like get the diplomacy out of it.
Okay.
You know?
You just heard who's better.
Wait, hang on. My phone is not. There we go. Okay. Which is perfect. Leads us to the next question. Everyone, like at first glance, says, "You're so similar. Are you really this similar?" And
for a while, people thought we were twins.
Yeah.
For a long time, actually.
People still sometimes think we are twins,
which I think is crazy.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But they thought it when I was like a head taller than you. Also.
Yeah.
Those were the days. Because now Kiveli's taller than me.
Yeah. Oh, and do you remember? Oh, I just remember that. Do you remember the situations where I would hug you and it would be something like I would like put my head in your like neck area, and you would put your head on top of mine, and it was like this safe space situation. I remember that so well.
There's so many pictures of us.
I know, exactly. It was always this like, and you were always like putting your chin on my head, and it was like, and everyone was like, okay, hug me, and you were like, okay. And then you had like your chin on top of me, and it was like amazing. I love that. Okay. We should, if we're like that edit savvy, like add a picture of one of these poses, which are like, I don't know.
Let's try that.
Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think the question comes from the fact that we like kind of very obvious markers are the same. We both have curly brown hair, although very different curls, I might say, but nevertheless, it's curly and it's brown, so that's enough for people.
We have the same parents.
Very constructive comment right here. No, and I think the big thing is that we are both, I would say, have a very energetic approach to being in a social circle.
Yeah.
I used to say we're both extroverts, but we've actually found out last year that Danae is not an extrovert, which, by the way, I'm still skeptical about.
And I forgot what the exact term is, but there's like an extroverted introvert or like something like this.
No, yeah, the definition is extroverts get energized by crowds.
No, this
they
I know.
Get energies from crowds.
No,
and
and
introverts feel like they lose
no, but there's
energy
like
to
even
crowds.
like a subtle thing, like not just extrovert and introvert, but you can be an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert.
So what do you see?
So I was
as?
gonna say I'm an extroverted introvert.
Okay.
But anyway, let's not get into that now.
Interesting. I mean, generally speaking, I would say that we both, usually when you meet us, we're both very talkative, very energetic, very positive, very high energy. So that's where that immediate association comes from, like, oh, you must be so similar.
Yeah.
The truth is we are very unsimilar when it comes to the, I would say, to our habits in life.
I think we're almost opposites.
We're almost
when it comes to our habits. I mean, some simple things. Even pre-kids, I like to wake up early. Kiveli likes to wake up late, for example. Or I like to work more in the morning time. You like to work more like later. Well, this whole like lifestyle thing, I mean, you already mentioned like I'm more on the like conscientious side of things. You're more like spontaneous and sun sparks of like super inspiration. And then we ultimately both get there. It's just how we get there is very different.
Yeah. For sure. And I think also we have very different priorities. Not priorities in life. Of course, we both want like a family, a nice career, but we have like very different ways how we get to our priorities. I think one of the main differences between us that I think we should do an episode on, because it's one of the conversations that we've had so many times, and every time it kind of goes in a different place, but it always goes very deep, is the way we view friendship. I think that's the main one. I kind of lay a super hugely high value on friendship and view friends that you obviously choose to be part of your family and treat them exactly the same way as family.
I just want to chime in here and say that when you say treat friends as part of your family, she's not talking about one person or two people.
No,
she's
talking about like six.
Exactly. 5 or 6 individuals.
Yes.
So that doesn't include a boyfriend it's like 5 or 6 friends that she literally views as family and does the same things for that she would do for me. for example.
I do the same things for
Yeah,
them.
I mean,
that I would
that's
do for
what
you.
I mean.
It's not that
yeah.
I would, I do them.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. And so and
I just wanted to show the extent of it.
I mean, I find it to be a very natural extent.
Got it.
But and
it.
I mean, the 5, 6. I mean, there's no cap to it. It's just you meet someone you connect with.
Although you
on a
have
level.
told me recently that you
Yes.
feel like you're maxed out.
Yes, I feel that. That's true. That's true. I mean, yeah, but obviously, things change. Some people become more important. Some people, kind of, you sort of part ways a bit, or you go in a different path.
And
so,
we should also mention that generally, not just with your friends, also with family, but generally, you're someone who's very
hands-on, like high effort. approach,
exactly.
Yeah.
I wanted to say ready to sacrifice, not really sacrifice, but like very hands-on. Like when it comes to Christmas, the gifts are all very thought through, very out there, big investments, time investments, financial investments, anything.
Yeah.
It's big.
Yeah.
Everything's big. So when you say you view them as family, it means a lot. It's more than what other people mean when they say they view them as family.
Yes, but the difference is, I think, so okay, what I was saying, the main difference is, so I've lay a high value on friendship, and despite just the friend thing, I think that when I say someone is, important to me, someone is close to me, there is this very, very high amount of effort I put in them, but there is, of course, a type of expectation of reciprocity attached to that, which is the place where then kind of your strategy sometimes has like less resistance because you expect less generally from people around you, but even your super close people, you're much more kind of like a self-dependent, your happiness comes from you, so you don't owe your happiness to anyone, therefore no one owes their happiness to you. And I'm more like, no, I want to share my emotions, share my happiness, share my generosity, but I also wish for that generosity in return. So that is, I think, one of the main different philosophies that we have, and I think there is value in both of them.
I think this is also where my introvert side comes in.
Maybe, yeah.
That I wouldn't necessarily say I like to be alone, but I like to be very centered around very few people. My closest people are, I would say, really on the same level. Kiveli and my boyfriend.
And your kids.
I mean, and my kids, but that's different. That's a different
and
relationship. But
yeah.
I mean, with like same level people, these are the two close people in my life. And yes, I have close friends. It's not that I don't have friends, although in Kiveli's eyes, I don't have friends. But I just don't go all out.
No, I don't think you don't have friends.
No, but on that level.
But it's a different, yeah.
I mean, I just want to say, like, if they needed me or if I needed something, I would be there. Like, if they said, hello, I'm in jail, of course I would go and get them out. But on the daily,
yeah, but exactly.
I like to be
and
more...
for me, like, true friendship or true, like, commitment to each other, energetic commitment doesn't come from, oh my God, I'm in jail.
Yeah.
Because most people would come to jail if you said, oh my God, I'm in jail. Be like, okay, that is kind of an extreme situation. I'll get out of my pajamas. But it's more like, hey, I'm just having an off day for no particular reason. Okay, come on. First of all, I know how to cheer you up because I know you, and I'm willing to invest the time and energy to cheer you up, not because your life would be tragic or you'd go to jail if I didn't cheer you up, just to make you happy, just to make this day a bit easier for you.
Yeah, and for me,
That's
if I'm having an
friendship to
off
me.
day, I'll just call Kiveli. Because
That's
she
actually
also knows how to cheer me
But that
up.
is not 100% true. If you have an off day, you'll deal with it yourself. And then
unless it's like a very off
you'll
day.
you'll only call me if the off day is caused by something.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's caused by something, then you'll call me and say, hey,
Because
this happened.
if it's not caused by something, why would I have an off day?
Because people have usual emotions that are okay to let out. You don't have to control everything that comes out that is not causally related to something that happened before. Okay. Fifth question. How long is this already going? I'm feeling like that we're taking far too long to answer the questions. Do you have
Keep going. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. So, how often do you fight, or did you used to fight? We can answer that quite quickly.
I mean, when we were younger, of course, we had the typical sister fights, the not really meaningful, but just there. Then those got less, I would say, as we grew up, and we kind of grew closer together because we kind of always were like the two of us against the rest of the world.
I mean, we were always untypically close.
Yes,
Like,
for sure. Also caused by the fact that our parents are divorced, and of course that was a situation that we had to deal with as kids, and
of course
made us
by the fact
close.
that we were always tied together very quickly in school. We were the two girls who play the
Play the
piano.
piano, yeah.
So, you know, we were always...
We were also like in Germany, the Greek girls, in Greece, the German girls.
Exactly.
And,
So, yeah. So, and I think basically one could say the fights got a lot less frequent as we became older.
There have been a couple of big ones.
But now, I mean, when we do fight about something, which I would say since our last big kind of restructuring of our relationship, there actually haven't been any real fights. Because when we do fight something, we fight about something that truly bugs us and truly like kind of hurts us. So therefore, you know, the fights are also of a different proportion.
Yeah, the last actual fight that we would name a fight was, 3 years ago? Something like this, right? Yeah.
Would we? No, I mean, I would say the last fight was not that much like a one fight. It was like a long distancing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And then we kind of bounced back.
But that was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was a big one. And that was also one that needed a longer time to resolve. And we talked and talked and talked and talked until we got there.
And I think that we like finally settled into this new, okay, now we're back into it in the first lockdown, I would say.
Yes. And ever since then, anything that could potentially end in a fight, I think we just tackle early on so that it doesn't turn into a fight. So if something bugs you or something bugs me, I'm just like, Kiveli, listen, this is a situation. And you're like, okay. And vice versa.
Yes,
exactly the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I just want to add, I just want to add that I think the crucial ingredient is that we don't get offended.
Yes, that's true.
No matter what you say, what bugs you, if it's the most precious thing to me, I won't get offended. And you won't get offended even if I'm totally interfering with your lifestyle.
Yeah. That's true. And I think we generally are people who don't get offended very easily because there is nothing that we could say that would be truly offensive that would not be a lie because we like who we are, you know, like who the other person is. So, is it easier or harder as sisters working together as a duo or for the festival? I mean, I would say in terms for us, I can't answer that like as a general rule for siblings. You're the easiest person to work with.
Same.
There is no one who even comes half, like a kilometer close. This actually, I was going to say like this didn't make sense. Anyway, that comes even remotely close to how well we work together.
I agree. I mean, it's easy. I can call you at midnight. We can talk about anything. You know what I mean if I even just open my mouth. I
can't call you at midnight because you've got your phone on night mode and therefore I can't reach you after you go to sleep.
Because I'm looking after my mental health.
That's a whole other situation. However.
But I would say generally...
Super easy.
Super easy.
Because I think we have a very, very similar approach to like efficient working. Yeah. And we both love working efficiently, effectively.
I mean, generally, of course, yes.
I know what you're going to say.
We do have a bit of a different approach. As in, like, the speed, how fast we get things done, or how immediate.
Or also, like, the mode with which we get things done.
The mode, exactly. The mode. Let's just say I'm more of an email person.
I'm more of an in-person talking.
Or in-person or caller.
Exactly, talking.
So there are some differences, but we know, and we kind of play into each other's strengths.
Yeah. No, but No, but yes. Okay, this is the personal question.
The ultimate question.
But I have to say that we didn't just put in here for like, I don't know, to have like a raunchy question. It is a question
we've been asked
that we've been asked. So I remember the first time we were asked that question, and I think I was 16 and you were 20. So the question is, have you had a threesome? Or more often, would you have a threesome?
Yeah, this is something that we've been asked in a very serious way quite often by potential interested people. Or also just people that just want to know.
The first time we were asked that question by brothers. My twins, actually. So that was particularly interesting.
It didn't happen. Let's just add that.
And I mean, it's. I find it kind of
unimaginable.
Oh yeah, to do it, and I was going to go ahead and say, obviously, to do it unimaginable.
So let's just say no, we haven't.
We have not had a threesome together. We're not planning on doing that anytime soon. No, but I find it like at the same time. for it to be asked like with a hope of getting a yes, I find it kind of unimaginable. However, at the same time, I get it because like in the porn industry, like this whole sisters together, siblings, the whole step euphoria that has entered the space.
I've recently been getting into a long research about the porn industry and like the negative effects that it has on people's sex drives, fantasies, lives. So anyway, I know this is not the place for it, but just it's another one of those things. It's another one of those things. Yeah. It's something that has been somehow planted in our minds that it's cool, that it's desirable, and then here we are, like getting asked, or guys hoping that we would actually do this.
Yeah.
But I mean, having said that, if there are sisters out there that do this,
I'm sure there are sisters out there that do it.
Yeah.
There was, I remember, oh my God, actually I just remember that.
I mean, these particular brothers that asked us.
They would do it. They have done it, by the way. I mean, like, I know of stories where they have like been with the same girl, but not sisters, but one girl. Yeah. But it's different for boys than it is for girls generally in that space, I would say. Like also within family doing stuff. Like, what did I want to say? Right. I remember this one episode of The Bachelor in America. I mean, it was ages ago that I watched this one. I don't remember what The Bachelor's name was, but it was the season probably like 8 years ago or something. There was one season I've actually watched. So, and there were twins who entered The Bachelor together to date the same bachelor.
Okay.
So...
But they weren't doing stuff together.
No, we're doing stuff together. But just imagine if you and I entered a dating show together and we're both going on dates with the same guy. Yeah. I mean, super weird. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, it's. I think it's. I get it. I get why we are asked the question.
Yeah, and until today, just recently, I would say, 3 months ago, we were asked again. So it's happening.
Okay.
All the time.
I'm gonna like kind of get this a bit like devil's advocate. Okay, what if Mark Anthony asked us for a threesome?
I mean,
like seriously, try to put yourself. Don't be like, of course not. Seriously,
we both
try
love
to put yourself in that situation. Yeah. I'm like trying to get like the top guy that we like both agreed is like very sexy.
I mean, I wouldn't be able to do anything with you. Let's start there.
Of course not. I'm thinking right now. I'm thinking right now. Like, would we just like my like if I'm trying to really think about it, my situation
lights off. I don't want to see you.
Oh God, my lights off, then you might do something unintentionally. I know, not like.
No, but I don't want to have a visual of my sister.
No, I totally get it, but I also don't want to like pretend I think I'm touching like something, and then it's like, and then like suddenly it's you. No. I think that there is a very good chance that we would say no. Yeah. And I think very good chance we would say no, and because I think it would probably be far less. Significantly less enjoyable.
First of all, I don't think if I would be able to function. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I really don't think I would be able to do it.
I'm trying to think because I think what we would actually do, like, let's be super honest about this. What we would actually do is we would both, and let's just say we're both
one after another.
No, not just the one after another situation, but like, let's just say we're both really, keen on having this experience, this kind of like whatever, out of, the realm of what we would have expected to happen experience. I think what we would do is we would probably kind of talk to each other and say, okay, we're both going to go to whatever, his hotel room, and then one of us is going to make an excuse and go, and then the other one's going to be with him, and then like we're kind of going to excuse like in the other direction, and then the other one's going to, I think that's what would probably
so
happen.
One after another.
I mean, we would kind of,
plan it out.
Plan it. Maybe we'd like kiss him a bit, and we would both be there, and then we would...
Yeah,
that's what I think we would actually do. We would kind of like hatch a plan to have that. And then, what would probably happen, because it's always far better in your mind with these like insanely, built up personalities, it would probably be a great disappointment.
Such a letdown.
It would probably be like super normal, and we would just be like, this was so, and then we would laugh about it for the rest of our lives. And have a great story to share with you.
We're waiting for you.
Yeah. And then... Okay. Then we would compare all types of situations. Okay, back to a far less personal question. How was it like practicing in the same house growing up and now? I mean,
that's an easy one. We had two instruments.
yeah.
And just like we have two instruments now, we have this grand piano and we have an upright piano. And
yeah, I mean, we used to be asked about this more because they're like, "Oh my God, can you hear each other?
Did
so
you
much
fight
music
over the grand piano?"
and these things." And I think now we actually don't hear each other. If one of us practices here and the other one practices in the first floor, we don't hear anything. Where we grew up and used to, have two instruments as well, we would hear each other a bit more. But I mean, absolutely no issue at all.
Yeah.
And this is the last question. And this is the one, I think we kept it for last because it's kind of like a sweet question, but also one we're asked a lot. And it's basically like, why are we so close? Like, how are we? And we're often asked that actually by mothers of like that have young children.
Yeah.
There are siblings that kind of want to emulate that and like, oh my God, my kids fight all the time. How did you guys not fight, or how are you so close?
I think that the one important factor actually is that we went through a lot, that we went through a whole range of experiences. Of course, everyone does that. Everyone goes through a whole range of experiences. But I would say that we had some more extreme experiences than others in their childhood. And that definitely created a close bond between us. And I would also say that we grew up with our mother, of course. I mean, not of course, but we grew up with our mother because our father was the one that moved out. And I would say that she particularly encouraged the bond. She definitely, I feel like she instilled in my head, this is your friend for life. Especially in the beginning.
Interesting, she did. I mean, she didn't instill it in either direction. I just don't remember, like, maybe it was more like, take care of her. I think that's what she instilled in you.
Maybe more that. Maybe the take care, the older sibling protective thing, which we will get into in the next episode. But yeah, I do feel like it was somehow encouraged. I mean, by both our parents. Also
no, of
by
course
our
it was
father.
encouraged. Yes.
And really the, let's say, traumas also played a huge role.
I mean, I think...
And by trauma, by trauma, I don't mean only the super serious traumas, but even something like going through the pressure of having to play for the class in front of our teacher, like our performance practice, basically, performance practice sessions, going through that together for hundreds of times is just something that brings you closer together because you endure these nerves.
Of course, yeah. I mean, I think there are actually like two things to say to it. The first is what you said, like the kind of joined also challenges that we faced. Also, the fact that we did choose to go such a similar path. I mean, we had the same hobbies, the same teachers, we went to the same school, we went to the same university, also while we're still going to school. We did everything at the same time, like the same steps. So up until you moved out, of course, and then things diverged a bit. So that's the one thing. And I think the other thing that I have to stress, and I always say that when people ask me, why are you so close? Is that the closeness of siblings, I think, is much more controlled by the older sibling than the younger one. And you were close with me from the day, like the first day I can remember. You really enjoyed spending time with me, enjoyed teaching me things, enjoyed, being the older sister and everything that comes with it. And I think it's much more kind of normal for the younger sibling to want to be close to the older one, and then the older one being like, "Come on, you're not cool enough for me." That's I think the normal dynamic also of why distance happens, and you never did that. So therefore, like, you never treated me as almost never, actually never, like as the younger one that's like,
also due to the fact that we didn't have the typical younger, older sibling. When we went on master classes, we were in the same group. So in a way you were same. Like it felt like you were same age in some aspects, of course. And I think also that sounds a bit cheesy, but we actually genuinely liked each other always. We never thought, oh my God, this annoying person. We actually liked each other. And I think I mean, I can't guarantee that with my track record with friends, but I think that if I met you, you would probably also be my friend. Like if I met you at school in a class.
You think so?
I think that we would become friends. Don't you think so? Wouldn't you include me in your love friend
hang on,
circle?
wait. I would become friends with you.
And I would go with it. I would welcome.
Yeah, maybe that's what would happen.
You would befriend
I would
me.
pursue you. And
you would pursue my friendship, and I would be like, she's cool.
And you would be like, wow, this person is doing a lot for me. Maybe I should do something too. No.
I mean, I don't know, but I can imagine us becoming friends.
I think
two outgoing people of the class,
of course,
this kind of a thing.
Yes. I just wonder when you would like become vulnerable with me, when that step would happen.
Very far down the road.
Very far down the road, yeah. But no, I totally understand what you mean. But I do think that also for parents out there or siblings, if you desire for your kids or, you to be close with your siblings, it's really like make the older sibling love the little one from the beginning and not like, see it as a compromise to be like, share with this person. You have to share. But kind of, no, this person is going to be there for you for your entire life automatically. So you can make this something extremely special.
Yeah.
And you can really create a bond that will be one of the main sources of strength for either kid forever.
Yeah, that's a nice ending.
All right.
So, I think that's it for today. We will now end the episode, and we were actually now going to record the next episode already because we want to upload 2 episodes for you because this is kind of not a normal
regular one. So
this
the
is
next
just
one's going to be
the intro one.
The next one's going to be like the first actual normal episode.
Yeah. And it's going to be on what's it like to be the older sibling and what's it like to be the younger sibling. So all the typical things that we feel as older and younger siblings. So definitely tune into that.
So sending lots of love to everybody and see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye. Cut!
I think we have to leave that in.
You're listening to The Sister Trill with Danae and Kiveli.